fantastic coin, very rare city in Greece. And what's really interesting is it's got a really high estimate, but the estimate makes sense when you find out what it sold for last time. So the estimate is $300,000. Again, most of us cannot afford these things, so we're just going to be watching from the sidelines and enjoying the view of this game being played. And so here is the coin, and you can see it was purchased privately from BCD. That's Basil Dimitriadi. He was a famous collector still alive in Greece, and he sold most of his collection. And this was privately purchased from his collection in 2005. So it doesn't have an old pedigree necessarily. If you go to the next slide, here's when it came up in 2012, and it brought 300 grand. So now you understand why the estimate is 300 grand.
Sure.
Because it hammered for 300 grand plus probably back in 2012, it may have only been 15%. I don't think they may have started the BP, the buyer's premiums might have started to creep up to 18% by then. I don't remember exactly when. For the longest time, the ancient coin business as a whole was all at 15% BP. And then it started to creep up to 18 and then to 20 and now to 22 and a half. And in some cases higher.
$6,000.
Right. So one thing I noticed, and this is where sometimes you need to view the coin, sometimes not. But if you go to the next slide, Mike, here is this coin side by side. And you can notice it looks like a scratch there where I have the arrow.
Back of some sort.
But it's not on the coin when it came up in 2012. And if they had a video of this coin, and I actually went and looked at the video and I don't see the scratch, I think that might be a hair.
Okay. Or it could have happened in the intervening years.
It could have, but I looked at a video that they had currently on this coin, and I didn't see it on the video.
Okay.
And so I'm thinking that it might have been a hair. Obviously, we're going to go to C&G, to their viewing room the Monday before when we're in New York and view this coin, and we'll see if there's this flaw on there or not. Based on the video, I didn't see it, so I think it might be a hair. And so I can't believe they left that. They didn't catch it if that was a mistake, because that flaw is obviously not there. But at least you'll hear it from here on this podcast that if you notice the scratch there, it may not actually be a scratch at all. So
it might not.
So if you go to the next slide, I kind of want to break down like what should these things really bring. It's a really rare coin and they do bring strong prices, but most of them have much better pedigrees. So I think that the one the C&G is offering is probably the finest known, but it doesn't have that old pre-1970 pedigree that you really would love to have on a really expensive coin like this. 2005 is not exactly old. So here, Nomos, this is the second highest one, sold for 210,000 Swiss francs, but it was part of the Peloponnesian hoard found before 1937.
Yeah, that's going to be value.
And fantastic reverse, by the way. And in fact, when I was researching this coin, this exact coin is used in Exopedia online.
Coin.
So, which is kind of funny. So if you go to the next slide, next value down, and you can see the quality starts to drop a bit. But here, this one sold for 80,000 Swiss francs in 2006. And look at the monster pedigree it has, all the way back to 1890.
Wow.
So fantastic pedigree. You go to the next slide. Again, nice coin. Sold for 78,000 Swiss francs and has a monster pedigree, again, back to 1896. So fantastic. And that sold in 2001. Next slide. Here's two that almost more recently. So the one on the left sold in 2006 for 35,000. The one on the right sold just a couple years ago in the defunct Roma sale in 2022 for 18,000.
That's pounds.
Pounds, but only 18,000 pounds. So, but look at the monster pedigrees for both of these. One was back to 73 and also was part of the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And then the other one way, way back. Monster pedigree back to 1894. So, but again, not as nice coins. I realize all that, but just the fact is that there are a lot of these out there that have sold with monster pedigrees, nowhere near what this one is being estimated at. Go to the next slide. Here it brings them all together. Here's the one that we're offering, being offered for 300,000, and here's all the other ones side by side with all the prices that they brought. And again, somebody paid a hefty price for this one, 300 plus juice, back in 2005. And so obviously maybe they overpaid back then, and they're looking to make sure that they don't lose too much money, because obviously they paid over 300,000 with the juice. And look, there's a ton more of these that have come up that are a lot less money, but they're obviously the quality goes way down, right? So I would still argue that this one in C&G is probably still the finest known. It's definitely fantastic on both sides. There's no doubt about it. But it doesn't have that pedigree that you would love to have. That's pre-1970. So my guess is it won't be a runaway price. My guess is it will sell around estimate, maybe a couple clicks over, but I don't see this going for much more than that. I think it's already priced out. And so when you talk about those estimates and you start to do research and you realize and you see where things are and where things have been and pedigrees, and you factor all those things in, this is what we factor in. So in this situation, I wouldn't say, well, they estimated 300,000, that's wholesale. No, it's not. It's covering the last purchaser's butt for paying probably more than they should have at the time. And so I don't think this is going to go for 600,000. So this is a coin that I think will go for 325 to 350. If it went for 350, I think the consignor would be quite happy. But again, great coins bring great money. Anything's possible, and auctions are a crapshoot. You never know what's going to happen.